Welcome to the Zwift Outlands highlights reel. First of all, we're going to take a look at the position we're in before we started. So last week was the first race of the series. Outlands finished a respectable third overall, but two notable mentions on the podium in Nick Monroe and Daniel Spooner. Here we can see the mentioned. Everyone else had a cracking race as well, leaving us in a really strong position for the second race. So first of all, let's have a look at the map. So here we go. We start right at the top of the circuit in the waiting area. We go straight into a sprint. So sprint out of the starting blocks, right down this red arrow for the first point. Then it's a desperate recover until the second point where we have a really steep uphill. If you can get over that, then you've got a recovery all the way back around to the start. And this is where it kind of starts for the next sprint, which is on the red arrow. Kind of starts building there and then sprinting to the end of the blue line there. So let's have a look at the riders. First up, special mention for Nick Monroe. Wasn't actually racing today as he levelled himself up after winning the first round, so well done to him, but he was on the audio supporting us all, so much appreciated. The other person on the audio was our DS, Daniel Stevenson. He was giving us loads of support, telling us what positions to ride, motivation, who's coming, what to do, where to go. The other notable absentee was Dave Hardy on the start line, but unfortunately Zwift was having all sorts of issues. You'll see it later in the video clip, so actually couldn't get out of the starting blocks despite managing to log in just. Paddy, he was having some bike issues. I'll show you a video in just a second, which he sent us in the build-up, so he bent his derailleur. So I think he'll come back stronger next time. This is showing you a bent derailleur, not bike mechanic, but I'm sure you can pick that up. He is our absolute goat out on the road at the moment, winning the mountain bike and orienteering. Didn't place in the race today, but he'll come back stronger. Paul Ray, he was our dark horse. Set him loose. Don't worry about the race. Don't worry about where you come. Just go and get the fastest through some of the segments, which is how some of it was scored. Then we have myself, a bit unconfident. I was on a time trial bike on the turbo, coming back from an injury, illness. So a bit unconfident, but just thought, let's stick it and see how we get on. So without further ado, let's get on into the racing. So you join us here in the starting pen, power and heart rate in the top left. You can see as the numbers count down that I start building up the power here so I don't get dropped straight away. Anyone who doesn't Zwift race might not have experienced this, but it's just full go from the start. As we talked about before, there's two sprints, so we're going straight down to the first sprint now, which basically means straight out the pen, you're sprinting for a good half a minute. I dropped my gears back there, which is why my avatar sat down. I'm back going again now. I've got a good bit of drafting here, so I'm in a good position. And what we have here is a bit of a descent, which actually kind of means my avatar set down because I ran out of gears. Then it flattens off and starts building, actually starts rising up. Unfortunately, that's Daniel on the left, Spooner. So we actually ended up racing each other. Obviously, had we been in our own kits, we would have known that and we would have been able to avoid that situation. Going across the line, just keeping a bit of tempo in so you don't get people flying past and dropping you, but I'm hoping to very quickly kind of slow down and get our heart rates back down. You can see I'm already up to 180, max heart rate's about 197, 198. So we're now just doing a bit of a descend and we'll jump straight up into the next sprint, which is actually just around the corner from that harbour that we're just going around here. So now we're coming up to this, probably about 20 seconds later, we're going around the corner and here we've got the first hill. Now I'm a bit of a heavier rider. I'm up in the 80s for the hill, so I was quite unconfident about this. So my only aim was to be able to either be in the group or be close enough to be able to get back in the group very quickly on the other side, hoping that everyone else would sit down and my weight would get me down the hill. So we're coming up towards the top of the line now, and actually I was a bit surprised because I'm in the top 10 here. So that means I get points. So just to explain the point system. First 10 riders over get descending 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 and so on points, and then as there's 5 laps, 10 sprints, so you can work out the maximum points there, and then also you get a sprint point for the points for the fastest time through, so you can finish any position, but if you get the fastest time you get separate points, which is what Paul Ray was doing today. So here we go, we're now coming round to the end of the first lap. Heart rate's 178, so hasn't managed to get down too much. Come around this corner, I was thinking about fastest through the segment here, so I was trying not to be on the front. I've already got my drafting boost going, so that lasts about 40 seconds. So I knew it would survive until the line. Started sprinting, realised the line was passing, so I thought, I've already dropped out of this in terms of fastest across the line. Carried on sprinting anyway, just aiming again just to make sure I stay in the group so you can start picking up points later as it thins out. But I still managed to get a top 4 position by the looks of it. In this front group, we've got myself and Daniel Spooner. The rest of the guys are within the field. So now we're going up the hill for the second time. You can see everyone's using their icons. I've got an aero boost, which isn't particularly helpful for the hill, but you might as well use it because as you go across the sprint line, you pick up another power up, so you're just wasting an opportunity if you don't. Found myself a bit surprised here. I managed to get up into second spot, so I'm assuming everyone was kind of hitting their max heart rates there and couldn't quite hold it up. In fact, you can see I'm up near 190 now, and I find myself on the front of the field where I don't want to be because I don't know who's around me, and I don't want to be pulling everyone around. So you see here I just almost go down to 0 watts at one point just to let other people shoot back past me and just sit in. Again, if everyone wasn't in orange and you happen to be up with a teammate, you could just maybe keep pressing on over the top and see what position you get. Now we're back into the end of lap 2, going across the sprint line again. I actually had a lot better position here for our fastest through the sector time, and I also managed to get first place. They quickly see I got 7th place around the sector. So that was my end position, I think, for the fastest through. The race didn't go any faster through the segment from there. So we've now skipped to the end of lap 4, and it's getting quite interesting now. You can see Ray there in the bottom right hand corner. Oh, he's just disappeared, but I think he comes back again. So he's now joined the front group, so he got deliberately lapped so he could join us and get a fastest up the segment time, fastest through the segment time up the hill. So he managed to get a really high place. I think it was second on that, which is excellent. So I think we followed this for the whole last lap though. There's Ray in the bottom right hand corner now, so he was now amongst us. Yeah, here we go. So we've now gone through the first sprint, and we're coming around, just desperately trying to recover but also stay with this group. So there's a group of about 8 of us, and so you're kind of guaranteed finishing positions now, so you can kind of play around a bit and see where you can get. Actually, you can see the eventual winner there just slipping off the front whilst everyone else was recovering. There's 2 teammates there, so I decided not to go through, let them pull, but nobody ever brought him back, so he was away. You can just see him going around the corner there for the uphill climb sprint. Again, as per normal, I was a bit concerned about getting dropped up here. I thought if everyone goes, kind of uses their last bit of energy resource and then gets a group going over the top, they'll stick together. I had a feather, but I tried to hold on to this as long as possible because I knew there was a steeper bit coming. You can see other people are already using theirs, so I pressed mine now. What I didn't want it to do is to run out as I was going up the hill, so I just thought I'd use my natural power to try and keep me there, and then the feather to just finish off. But actually, got to look, the feather lasts a lot longer than I thought it did, and I still had it over the top, so I could have actually pressed that a bit earlier. So that's a bit of recon error there. Then again, we're going down the hill now, so usually you'd be down to 0 watts here if you could and just recover, make sure the group stays together, but because there was somebody out the front, we had to keep some resemblance of power going and see if we could work together. Doesn't look like there's any teammates here together, so we're all now kind of one for all, but playing that bit of game where you want to pull them back, but if you're the one who pulls them back, then you're giving somebody else the opportunity to win the race at the end. There's another guy there in the same kit as me, but unfortunately it's actually a different team. We've both ended up picking the same kit. He's picked up a feather power, so that makes it a bit lighter, and this is the last little hill really, so he's obviously just decided to use it there because otherwise he's got nothing to have for the rest of the race. So I think I've picked up quite a nice position here really. I'm not doing any work to close it in, so I'm in 370 watts, which is quite a lot for me, but be doing a lot more on the front, so I think that's not too bad. Heart rate's a little bit lower than it has been in the past, but still pretty high. We're probably about half a minute now from the end of the lap. And I'm just trying to hold my position here. So we're at 400 watts, and now we've got two teammates came through. So I picked that up straight away as he came through. So I thought, right, one of them is going to work for the other one. So I just tried to stick with them. I thought one of them's probably going to go for a long range attack. I think that's a lapped rider that we're picking up there. And a teammate as well. So he obviously wanted to get involved and help the team on the final, but unfortunately we kind of went straight through past him there. So I'm in a bit of an awkward position here because we've been gapped, but there's also a gap you can see in the map on the top right hand corner behind us. So I'm now just thinking, what do I need to do? I let somebody else come past me. They're using their boost. So I'm using an aero boost. So they've got a boost that relies on using somebody else to help them, whereas mine's just pure aerodynamic boost. I got quite a good jump on these two. I think they went a bit early and managed to get a second place. So that's how the result ended, and here we've got the final results up. So that's a great result. Daniel Spooner got loads of points for his sprints for positions in top 10. You can see the mix of top 10s and fastest through the sector made Outlands win that whole event, so that's great. Order of our riders, as I said, Rayru's floating around trying to get the fastest on the sector. Just out of interest, here's one of our riders' paragraphs, so you can see the repeated sprint efforts happening. So that's the end of the highlights reel and my monotone voiceover. Clearly lots to do to improve the source of information that we're giving you. It's our first attempt, just something to get you into the spirit, but we're hoping to do loads of things going forward. So build up the subscribers. So if you can help by subscribing to the channel, we'll be allowed to live stream when we get to a certain number of subscribers, and then we'll be able to do this live and talk you through it. Hopefully we'll be able to get the view from somebody not racing, who's watching over, and then can click you around the screens and tell you what's going on for various riders in the group. Next week's a team time trial, so actually we'll all be together, 6 of us, and it's the fastest 4 finishers, so look out for that next week.